Hey everyone, this is a pretty important set for the LEGO City line in 2021. It's the town center. I mean, look at this. It comes with roads and buildings, a car, a truck, a bicycle, a motorcycle, people, an animal, plants, all kinds of stuff. However, when I peel back a layer, removing the minifigs and vehicles, everything starts to look a lot more barren, with the road plates absolutely dominating the space, but still additional, just blank, empty, unused space beyond the edges of the roads. And then the structures are two, right? You've got the tall building here and then the car wash over there. We'll take a closer look at those, but I wanted to give you a quick spin around this whole thing so you understand just the shape of the entire set, of the main build, of, the primary draw of this set is the town center itself and not the accessories. This two-story building, I think, is actually pretty good for what it is and the size that it takes up, although, again, there's too much empty, unused space out front. They easily could have put in another table or two, and maybe instead of having it be a stand-up table, they could have had some chairs or something, just something to use this space effectively. Nice little pathway over here, more detailed than there needs to be. A little bit of fencing on the side. Got a little alleyway on the side as well with the pizzas stacked up there, and just a basic action feature with a little fire on your pizza box stack, and you can hit that with a water stud shooter to make the fire go away. Bring it back. I think the front end of the lower half of the building, the pizza shop here, actually looks pretty good, and you've got enough room for a single minifigure to walk in up to the counter or to go off to the side. Around back, there's a checkout register and plenty of space for an employee to stand behind the counter. I'm still not a big fan of the new graphic design on the new prints for this year, especially since so many of them are being placed on white bricks, especially the sloped ones, but that's more of a subjective thing. It is nice to get a print at all, and the print itself makes sense. And then you got the pizza oven over here, which is open style. You're not able to really put the pizza inside, just put it on the edge, but I think it's enough. And then the second level is a kendo dojo, a place to learn and practice. They got a couple of the helmets there, a couple of practice swords in a barrel. Those are in brown rather than tan that they've used to represent training swords before. And there's a nice sign for that place also outside, and I think the detailing around the front looks pretty good. I appreciate the use of the sand green and bringing in a little bit of depth and some of the curved shaping, also the nice detailing around the top, which does include some nanofigs in dark bluish gray. That's pretty cool. At the very top, up here on the roof, is a vegetable and fruit garden. I have to say that suggestion of a cherry tree is absolutely bare bones basic. It almost could not get simpler than that. Not a big fan of it, but at least it gives you a little bit of fodder for imagination there at the least. These other things are also simple, but I think they're a little bit better. And then the whole thing has somewhat of a modular build in that you can remove the upper floor. You can also remove the roof, so you can put that there. And find yourself a plate to put on top of this. So you want to put this in a different space, just allows you to change things a little bit, but you don't really need to take off upper floors or upper levels to get easier access in here. These are tall enough and shallow enough to easily place minifigures anywhere they should go. I have to say I like the look of the pizza joint as a single floor building, so I think that if one of these windows here had been replaced with a door and then they included just one extra plate to form a roof for this, it would have been useful. Across the street are a couple of recycling bins for your paper products and glass products. So those are the bottles that are included. It's nice to have the options of the different colors. And then this one has inside of it 3 2x2 plain white tiles to represent just paper to be recycled. And these can be picked up by the truck, and I'll show you that later. You also have some items to do some regular trash cleanup. Oh, and these bins also have doors around the back to empty their contents. Next to that is the car wash. I love toy car washes and Lego ones in particular. This one is not all that complex, but you have the spray bar up here, which is done nicely with the individual little bits of water that can be moved out of the way. They've got another print over here. This is one of the new prints, a small one where you can actually pretend to put a card in it. So it's nice to see the card slot. And the idea is that you just put a vehicle in and it'll accommodate a number of different sizes. If the vehicle is tall enough, then it'll actually move some of the water. That would be a good thing. I think that would be a plus. And then you push this through the brushes and it goes right on through. I really appreciate the fully see-through walls on both sides so you can enjoy this, as an onlooker. And there's one more look at it out the back. There is no proper smooth ramp out the back, but it's not too bad of a transition down to your table or whatnot. And then the last thing on this side of the street is a small electric car charging station, which has another new print, which I actually don't mind. This is kind of cool. It's a useful one. Unfortunately, the parking spot for that will only accommodate a very small car, like the one that they included in this set. It won't even fit one of the electric cars from another of the city sets from this year that uses this large road base plate system, the family house. So this is rather limiting. They should have extended this back, I think, at least, and made it a little bit wider. And then finally in the caddy corner here is just a tiny bit of city park, a little bit of greenery space with a single bench that will just accommodate a single figure. And this is a little ride for very small children, especially babies. And it has a fine build to it. It looks fun and colorful, and it just allows you to rock back and forth a little bit. As for the road plates, you get 4 of the full-sized ones and 2 of the half-sized ones here. One of them is unprinted, and one of them is printed with a crosswalk. Really quickly, here's a lazy attempt at a purely linear configuration using all the road plates and all the structures, and I had one extra set of ramps, so I put those at the back of the car wash where they're needed. This is the truck for recycling bin pickup, and I like this one much better in person from 3D angles than I did when I just looked at the photographs. This is nice. This has really strong colors, strong contrast. I like the use of the textured piece here. In the front, this does use most of the stickers in the set, which is kind of odd. It felt odd while I was building it to use up so many when there's such a large set beyond this, but this is a pretty effective thing. It does just hold a single figure in there. It does not have openable doors that a lot of people like, even though they're kind of not usable, but just got a basic interior space. And then this crane thing actually does work. Just pull up to the recycling bins there, turn it around, get it angled down enough, and you can fit the hook right under the loop. Make sure you don't pull the entire plate up, but this does have the range to put a bin there and the other bin here. So it has all the articulation that it needs for good, proper play. The only problem is that once you actually have these on board, then you can't really park the boom away in the little safe space where you could before. So it's able to move around, and I haven't found a good solution to that. You kind of try to hook this down, but it's just not good enough for me. There we go. It kind of works, just barely. And then this little car is kind of perfect, I think, for just a single minifig people mover. You don't need anything more than this. This one does have openable doors that so many people like so much. Has a little bit of the dark azure in there, some transparent pieces and everything, and a little spot on the front to connect to your electric vehicle charger. To get a figure in there, you just remove the top. There's nothing special, just a steering wheel, and really, again, that's just all you need to move a single minifig around a city. Then again, you don't even need a car. You just need this dark blue colored mountain bike with the silver colored wheels, another color combination we haven't gotten yet, so nice to add. For emergency services representation, they include this fire motorcycle, which at least is able to actually contribute to fighting fires, thanks to the inclusion of the stud shooter with the little stud to represent water, so you can shoot that at the small fire next to the pizza joint that I showed you earlier. And yeah, that's much better than including nothing or like something for traffic control. This will actually do something. Won't just take a firefighter to the fire and then let them stare at it. They can do something. I believe this is the first ever Lego set to include a sight-impaired individual in a non-fantasy setting, a semi-realistic setting. So that is definitely to be appreciated and celebrated. And the seeing-eyed dog harness is a new piece. I'm sure they'll be introducing that in many different colors. It works nicely, allows it to work right-handed or left-handed, and the dog itself is a new mold for 2021. Represents a retriever or golden retriever or lab retriever. In this case, it's like a chocolate lab retriever, so that's a good one to get as well. All good stuff here. Here's a closer look at some of the figures, and the one on the right is intended to be a bicycle riding policeman, so technically the bicycle could be considered an emergency services vehicle in this set, although it doesn't have to be. However, if you do want to take the helmet off of that cop, he does not have an alternate hairpiece included in this set, so he would have to be just just a bald cop, which is fine. You have to allow that to happen sometimes. I can't expect them to include extra hair for absolutely every figure always. These are all named characters from the Lego City Adventures TV series. I don't remember the name of the kendo teacher on the left, but his student in the middle is Madison. Of course, those two do have alternate options for their headgear, given that they have the training helmet pieces. And on the right is Shirley Keeper from Sanitation. I like that face and the orange color for the bob cut. The high visibility vest has the nice metallic print on it, but I wish that the lime green was a little bit brighter. She's holding in her hand a remote control for the crane on the back of the truck, and that does have a new printed 1x1 tile that is, I think, unnecessary, but just fine. Helps to unify, I guess, with the new graphic design style. Good prints around the backs of these torsos. And as for alternate faces, you get that one, which is absolutely delightful. I like her main face as well. I think just some of the happiest faces that Lego has ever done, like most deeply genuine happy faces that Lego has ever done on any figures. And then these are also unnamed characters, at least on the box and in the official description. I think maybe one or two of them may have gotten a name at some point in the show. I just personally don't remember. I don't think there are ever major points or major focuses in any of the episodes, but taking a look at the alternate faces, you only get one here, but I also wanted to show you that alternate print on the torso on the right here, and proof that the baby does not have any print, so this is not a new version. That print right there looks out of place to me. I don't know, just the kind of looks like a reproduction or something. Something is weird about the production work there. It's a little bit blurry. And here are the leftover pieces. Not a bad selection there, including one of the new printed piece. You got the extra nano fig, the katana in brown. So yeah, that's cool stuff. Here's what the sticker sheet looks like once the stickers are all used up again. The majority of these stickers, by number, are used by just the orange truck. And now we talk about price and value. I paid $100 US for this set. And of course, it does have a lot of large pieces, and forget about whether those large pieces happen to be the new super hyper controversial road plates or not. Big pieces mean that the price to part ratio should not be looked at as the final measure of value ever. That's just how that goes. When you get more stuff for a given number of pieces, you get potentially more value. You usually get more value. So I have to consider that. However, when I first put this whole set together in its originally designed form, as shown on the box and as I showed you at the beginning of the video and everything, before I posed all the figures and the vehicles out to make it, look like it's using up the space, just looking at what I showed you in that second scene, kind of up high of all the open space, all the open road space and all the open space in the front here and here and here and all that, just instinctively, my mind told me there is no way that I should ever be asked, or anyone should ever be asked to pay $100 for that. I felt almost disgusted at it, to be honest with you. I'm just telling you my subjective feelings about it, just instinctively, just looking at these things, just the visceral reaction to it. However, I did some exercises. So I'm going to be super blunt here, right? A lot of people don't like to consider logic, reason, anything fact-based, anything objective, when subjectivity is overriding their brain, is taking over. When somebody hates something, when they look at it, they're not going to give it a chance. That's not me, and I don't cater my content to folks who think that way. It's just the way it is. So here's me now, thinking logically, trying to give this a chance, trying to be reasonable about it, because I have to, regardless of what the outcome of such an exercise is going to be. I set these things up and I started assigning values to them. I started assigning prices to them, and what I think each individual component is worth. And I encourage you, all of you, to try doing the same and give it an honest try. Don't just be like, oh, I wouldn't pay more than 50 cents for that, 25 cents for that, 10 cents for that, 1 penny for that, nothing for this. That's absolutely valueless. This is all garbage. So yeah, this is a $10 set. Like, what's the point of even, looking at a review, considering anything at that point? Just do something else. Do something that you enjoy, but give it a good try. Give it a good effort. I went through that a couple times trying different ways of looking at it. And objectively, when I add everything up, it's actually not that terribly overpriced. It still looks overpriced to me, but consider like this plus the recycling center is not going to be a $15 set. It's probably not going to be 20, 25, maybe even 30. I would give it like 25. I even gave this whole building here like just $25, including everything with each of these components. I'm thinking how the set would be with some figures included. Car wash with the car and maybe a couple of figures. It's pretty empty to me, so I really don't want to say more than $20, $25, even though in reality they would probably charge more. I'm saying what I would like to see it priced at. All that road plate stuff that, of course, a lot of people are going to want to use that as a scapegoat because it's really convenient, because it's a new thing and it's controversial. A lot of people don't like it. Say, this whole set just sucks. It's just terrible. It's super overpriced because of the road plates, and Lego is using those road plates in an evil way to just drain money from the entire world, right? That's one way that you can look at it. Or you can look at reality and say, okay, this set comes with that same amount of road. Okay, it has one less of the smaller pieces, but then it has all these other accessories and things. So it kind of includes, like, the park is included in here as well. This is $20. 20. So $20 of the value of this set at retail is road plates. So forget about the road plates now. Is all of this stuff here worth $80 then? You add things up, it comes close. It comes close on paper. And I don't like that because, again, going back to my initial visceral reaction to this upon putting it together the way that they show on the box, but not trying as they do for the box art to make it look as busy and filled up and vibrant and lively as possible. It didn't feel right to me. So I still feel like this is terribly overpriced, even though when I look at things individually, I get more reasonable about it. It comes closer. Like some of the numbers that I came up with were like $85 total value, including the road plates. It's $100, so $15 overpriced. It's more than it should be, but it's not ridiculous, right? It's not what I felt at the beginning. I just wanted to share some thoughts about how I look at these things and how there are different ways of looking at things such as value. Also, consider the fact that, of course, in terms of like design, this is intended to be, I had to verify there, a 6+ set. So for kids as young as 6, that's really, really young. And as soon as kids get to like 7, they forget what it's like to be a 6-year-old kid. And certainly by the time they get to like 10, they completely forget and they're like, oh, I could have built a UCS Millennium Falcon when I was 6 in like 2 hours easily. No, realistically, younger kids need simpler stuff. All this here, I'm good with. Park, I'm fine with. This, I'm fine with. The car wash, I really like car washes. I like toy car washes, and I like the fact you can actually go through this. You can see through the side, the water, the brushes, all that. But it is kind of plain, right? Like I wish it had another set of brushes in there, another spray bar, a dryer bar or something. It's just what you need, plus a little bit of size. But it does feel a little bit plain to me. This actually, I was surprisingly okay with, except for all the unused space up here in the front. That could have been filled up with a little garden, again, more seating space, just could have been utilized better, I think. But it is Lego, so yeah, of course you can add your own stuff, but I'm just saying, if this was sold as a set with some figures, I would want to see some stuff in here. But the building itself doesn't look bad, and the interior, just being realistic to city stuff, it's not bad either. Has some usable space, has some usable detail. So overall, I feel like the parts of this are greater than the sum in this case, which is really, really weird. That's very odd. But I kind of like that because I want to see this. I want to see this sort of set as just that, as a city starter construction set, something for a kid to get the fundamentals, the beginning of building out a whole scene, and to have a bunch of different stuff that can be done just with the parts of this set, but then asking you to customize and to add to it. I think it works really well for that. just its default form, how it's presented, really looks overpriced to me and feels rather empty. So very torn on this. I do have a full build of this. You want to see how everything went together. There's not much to it, right? Everything's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You can see most of the building techniques as soon as you look at it, but I've got the real-time pure build for folks who want to hear the nice little sounds of clicking of parts, and I've got the speed build if you just want to see it relatively quickly in one sitting. Let me know what you think about that, though. Let me know what you think about these topics, these things that I've covered, including your just purely subjective thoughts, and if anybody has any thoughts about the value evaluation of this from more of a fact-based, realistic-based perspective. I'm going to stick to my feelings, my view that this is overpriced, but it's not as overpriced as it looks on the surface. Thank you for watching. I look forward to your feedback, and I'll talk to you again soon.